We were on a camping trip and we had decided to go for a swim in the lake when suddenly the sky became dark and the wind started picking up speed. We could see smoke rising in the distance. So we got out of the lake and we went to check it out. But then the wind took another turn and the smoke was all around us. The trees started falling over one by one and we could hear them crashing down into the lake. Soon after that, we could feel the heat coming closer and closer. We ran as fast as we could away from the forest towards our campsite. But the fire was moving so quickly that we could only watch in horror as the tents and everything we owned got completely burnt to ashes. I want to tell you more about this harrowing experience, but before I do, please take a moment to subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And don't forget to like and comment on the video as well. Now let me continue with the story. It was the summer of 2018 and my friends and I had been planning this camping trip for months. We wanted to spend a week by the lake swimming, sunbathing, and just having fun. There were 5 of us in total. My friend Tom was driving his truck, and I was in the back with my 2 best friends, Sarah and Emily. In the front were Tom's brother James and his girlfriend Lucy. They were sitting in the front seats, and they were arguing about something. I pretended to be asleep so I didn't have to listen to their constant bickering. The drive took several hours, and eventually we arrived at the lake. The weather was sunny and warm, and the water looked crystal clear. We couldn't wait to get in. We unloaded all of our stuff, and we started pitching our tents while the other kids went swimming. I thought that this would be a great opportunity for some alone time with my friends. So I told them that I was going to take a nap, and I crawled inside my tent. But then Emily came over and she said, "I can't believe that Tom and James are fighting again. Do you think that they're going to break up?" I told her that I didn't know and that I hoped not because they looked good together. She sat down next to me and we started chatting about boys, school, and other random things. Suddenly, I heard someone shouting, "Guys, come quick." We looked towards the voice and we saw Tom running towards us with his hair on fire. He jumped inside the lake and he started screaming, "A fire! There's a fire somewhere near the lake. Come help me put it out." When he emerged from the water, his hair was completely burnt off and his skin was red and sore. He must have gotten second-degree burns. We were shocked, but we weren't scared. We grabbed buckets of water and we started throwing them at the fire. We worked together and soon the fire was out. Then we started looking around to see how much damage the fire had caused. It hadn't spread very far and we breathed a sigh of relief. We were exhausted and sweaty, so we decided to go for a swim in the lake to cool off. We jumped into the water and we spent the entire afternoon playing around. We were having so much fun. I even climbed up a tall rock and I jumped into the lake and everyone cheered when I landed. After a while, Emily said that she was going to go for a walk along the beach and we told her to be careful and to stay close to the camp. We didn't want her to wander off because the woods behind the beach were very dangerous. People had gone missing in there before and their bodies had never been found. The rest of us continued playing in the lake until it started getting dark. We knew that we should start making dinner, but we were all too tired to cook anything elaborate. So we just grilled some burgers and hot dogs. After we finished eating, we sat around the campfire telling scary stories and roasting marshmallows. It was the perfect end to a perfect day. But little did we know that the next morning we wouldn't have any perfect days left. At first light, we woke up and we got ready for another day of fun in the sun. We ate some cereal and then we headed to the lake. As we were walking, we could see that the ground was covered in ashes and charred pieces of wood. I thought that maybe there had been a wildfire in the area recently, and that's why the woods were so dangerous. But then I realized that the fire was still burning. It hadn't been here yesterday. Sarah screamed, "Guys, look," and she pointed towards the lake. The water was filled with smoke and the sky above it was dark gray. We looked towards the woods and we saw that the fire had spread. It was moving very fast and it looked like it was heading straight for us. We started running as fast as we could towards our tents. We needed to pack up and leave right away if we wanted to escape the fire. When we reached the tents, they were already on fire. We couldn't save them, so we ran away as fast as we could. We didn't stop running until we were far away from the lake. Looking back, we saw that the fire was spreading to the dry brush, and it looked like it was growing bigger by the minute. The fire was moving incredibly fast, and it wasn't going to stop anytime soon. Tom kept shouting, "Run, run, run." We didn't need to be told twice. We were terrified of being burned alive, so we ran as hard as we could. The air was thick with smoke and ash, and it made it hard to breathe. I could feel the heat on my skin, and I knew that if we didn't get away soon, we would be burnt to a crisp. As we were running, we could hear the trees exploding. It sounded like gunshots and it made me jump in fear. We finally reached the car and we piled inside. I remember thinking that I would never forget this moment. The fire was coming closer and the smoke was everywhere. I could feel my heart beating in my chest. I hope that whoever is watching this video understands how scared I was. Then we started driving away as fast as we could. We were all silent and no one spoke until we were a safe distance away from the fire. When we finally stopped, we looked back and we could see that the entire forest was on fire. The fire must have covered several acres of land. Tom started driving towards home and none of us spoke until we were almost there. Then Emily broke the silence and she said, "What do we tell our parents? How are we going to explain this?" I had no idea what to say. I was still shaken by the experience and I didn't know how to process it. We had survived the fire, but now we had to face the consequences. Our parents were angry and they were worried sick when they saw the state we were in. They hugged us and asked us what had happened, and we told them everything. They were furious that we had gone camping in such a dangerous area, and they grounded us for a month. After a while, though, they started to calm down and they started asking us questions about the fire. They wanted to know how it started and how we managed to escape. We told them everything we knew and they seemed satisfied with our answers. They knew that we had learned our lesson and they promised us that we would never be grounded again. After that, we never went camping again. But sometimes when I look at the stars, I remember the night that we almost died. And that's the end of my story. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.